You're going to keep writing books. We should do this again sometime.
Absolutely, yeah.
For tonight, I always try to end with some variation of this question. And that is, if you could go back to the start of your career or whenever it would be useful to you and give yourself some advice that would have made the path easier for you and might make the path easier for all the authors watching or listening to us and subscribing to us, what would you go back and what would you tell yourself?
All right, so this is what I think I would tell myself. I would tell myself that, and this is a quote, maybe it's a Vonnegut quote, I don't know, but this will all be useful to you, right? Whatever it is that you're going through, and maybe this is a function of me being a middle grade author, right? And tapping into the sort of tumultuous, churning, cesspool of emotions that we're all going through as we make that sort of transition to adulthood. But just say, all of this stuff, like if you're going to end up being a writer, like tap into it all. Write it down now, even if it's not in novel form or poetry form or short story form, because all the pain and the joy and all that stuff that you experienced so intensely at that time, it's going to come back. And it's going to provide some outstanding characters and some great conflicts and some really cool story twists once you can harness that stuff and access it. And the other thing I would say is be more curious. I was an avid reader, and so I learned a lot, obviously, from the books that I read, but I don't know I learned as much from the life that I led that I could have. I was, sort of antisocial and, introverted and preferred to stay in my little cubby and do my thing, as I think a lot of, young writers are. But I think the more you experience of the world from as young age as you can, the richer the worlds that your characters inhabit will be. And I feel like in some ways I've been playing catch up to that as an author. 10 books in now, 11 and 12 coming out, and I'm like, I need to see the world because we can't keep setting every book in some unnamed city in the Midwest. Although I appreciate that I've got my roots established, it would be nice to be a little more worldly. So yeah, be curious, learn as many different things as you can. And if you're a young writer, be a young lots of other things, right? Always write and read, but also be a young explorer and a young scientist and a young engineer, and maybe even for a little while a young doctor or a young lawyer. Learn to cook. I don't know. Take care of animals. Just do other things because writing is about taking experience and giving it meaning, right? By putting it in this form that we call story and narrative. And if you don't have the experience, then I feel like that narrative is kind of empty, right? You can create something wholly formed out of your imagination, but I don't feel like it carries as much emotional weight if you haven't gone out and lived at least part of it. So that would be it. Stay curious, see the world, read, write it down, and know that whatever you're going through, you'll put it on the page eventually and maybe make a little money off of it.